Mark chapter 6, verses 1 to 6. Where did he get all this? No prophet is accepted in his own country. He departed from there and came to his native place, accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were astonished. They said, "Where did this man get all this? What kind of wisdom has been given to him? What mighty deeds are wrought by his hands? Is he not the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph, and Judas, and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his native place, and among his own kin, and in his own house." So he was not able to perform any mighty deeds there, apart from curing a few sick people by laying his hands on them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. He went around to the villages in the vicinity teaching. Mark leaves a section on great belief to a section on great disbelief. In chapter 3, verses 20 to 35, we saw Jesus' family thinking that he had gone crazy. In the opening verse of chapter 6, we see his entire hometown of Nazareth thinking the same thing. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue. As Jesus moved from place to place, his reputation had always preceded him. The person in charge of the synagogue would have appreciated the opportunity to have such a well-known speaker lead the Saturday service. Jesus was always willing to speak at the synagogue because it was a gathering place for a large number of people. But the speaking engagement backfired for both Jesus and the leader of the synagogue. The people in the synagogue took offense at him. The people didn't deny his wisdom, his reported mighty works, but the townspeople knew Jesus on a personal basis, and since he was a child. Rather than offering a welcome and expressing community pride, Jesus' townfolk were offended by his presence and his teachings. The people of Nazareth came to the conclusion that their prior knowledge of Jesus was all they needed to know. Even their amazement at the authority and truth of his teaching turned to ridicule. They refused to believe the obvious. As a result, their rejection limited his ministry. So he was not able to perform any mighty deeds there, apart from curing a few sick people by laying his hands on them. As you read the Bible, you will notice that for miracles to take place, faith needs to be part of them. The people of Nazareth thought of Jesus as a carpenter turned traveling preacher, not as the Messiah. Had Jesus performed miracles in Nazareth, the locals would have looked upon him as a kind of magic show done for entertainment rather than a demonstration of God's power taking place in their midst. Remember the old saying, familiarity breeds contempt. Had Jesus resided in Bethlehem and visited Nazareth, the reception would have been very different, because he wouldn't have been someone they knew. The people of Nazareth looked down on Jesus because he was just a local working man. Jesus could have been born into a rich and privileged family, but he chose to be born into an average family and to work in a trade. We must be aware of the temptation to evaluate people based on externals and not by their worth as human beings. We have the power of free choice to either help or hinder the work of Jesus Christ. We can open the door to him, or we can slam it shut in his face. These men slammed the door on Jesus and on themselves as well.